Oh, I know, exactly.
All right, so it's 6:30, and we will begin our meeting, and we'll call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move that we approve the agenda with the introduction of a new certified staff candidate as letter D.
Okay, so it's an amendment. Is there support?
I support that.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. And we'll move to learning highlights, communication update. Mark, please.
Great. First, we're doing the staff.
Okay.
Oh, I thought we were doing it after. All right, yeah. So let's do we have a staff introduction.
You have to do what I said.
We do. We have Megan Dyer. Megan, if you'd stand up, please. Welcome. Megan will be teaching ELA at Scripps Middle School. Some of you may recognize Megan, as some of the staff at Scripps probably recognizes her as well. She's an alum of Scripps and Lake Orion High School. She's currently at Star International Academy, and she'll be starting with us right after spring break, I believe. And so we look forward to having her on board.
All right, well, welcome. We're
And
glad you're here.
She has her whole family with us.
Once a dragon, always a dragon.
Have them
Good
stand
job.
up. Have the family stand up.
They are
Yeah,
allowed
and-
to leave if they would like to.
You don't have to,
Goodbye.
We'd love to have you, but
you're
no
more than
obligation.
welcome to stay. It's really
Thank you
fascinating
for being
stuff.
here. It's good news.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome home.
Really.
All right. That's always good news.
Absolutely.
So now we'll move to Mark.
There
please.
we go.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much, Jim. Appreciate you having me. For the most part, in terms of communication, it's been a lot of supporting cabinet and Julie and different things that they needed. But I would like to point out to the board and to the community as a whole, we have things on our website that are resources that are at this time of year with registering for kindergarten, those, each school has its own kindergarten page and has process about registration and information about each school and stuff from the information nights that they held. So if you missed that, you can find out more information. The school-age childcare, if you're interested in registering for that, that's on the website as well. So those are things that are important, and in a couple weeks, we'll be launching the schools of choice applications, and those will be on the website as well. So just wanted to touch base on that. In terms of learning highlights, I'll hit on most of them, but some of them I'll skip over quickly because I think the leadership team is here, the leadership staff. So the middle school, Becky Lowe, one of our media specialists, is here. They've been really busy. This is in January. They did a lot with an open house for potential families for ELL, the early English language learners. And they did things with like snowmen make and take kits and Becky does a great job of having students in their at lunchtime and before and after school to do different things within the media center. And they've made the media centers a place for them. In February, they had knitting in the maker spaces, they had different lessons, they planned for March's Reading Month, and then, once that came around, Battle of the Books occurred a couple weeks ago. So, and that's obviously a highlight. The students spend months preparing for that, and then they get to compete and wear their crazy costumes and everything, so that was really great. In terms of authors, there haven't been too many authors who have come in. There's been a lot of guest readers for March's Reading Month, but Blanche Sims Elementary Debbie Manganello was able to secure an author to come in, Jonathan Rand, and it was one of the first opportunities for these students to have an assembly in like 2 years, and so they were all buzzing and excited, and some of them, they hadn't even remembered what it was like, but they were riveted to him, and he was engaging and everything, which was really nice. That was at Blanche Sims. Our operations building and ground guys, we like to give them shout outs because they're always out there doing things that you don't see. I mean, they're doing stuff in the buildings, but even when the weather got nicer, they were out there filling potholes one day last week and stuff. It's just an opportunity to, they go unseen all the time, and we just want to give them a little attention. There's Ryan and Chris doing the work that day. So, in terms of the coin stalls, this is something that they'll talk about more, but it's great to see the participation of the students. That morning we went around, you can see a video on our YouTube channel about all the opportunities, and all the teachers were trying to strategize about how to do their coins and everything. And it's really the students were really into it and everything too. So it's great to see so much participation, for something that's only a couple of years old, a new initiative. The leadership class also had Dragon Day. I'm sure they'll talk more about that, but the fifth graders from Stadium Drive Elementary came for a day, and each year it's a different elementary school. The fifth graders come, and then the leadership students take them for the day. They eat lunch with them. They mentor them a little bit. They do activities, and both sides are really engaged by each other. And Sellout, obviously, everyone knows about Sellout. Last week, it was modified a little bit, and the leadership students will talk about that. But again, a great assembly, great engagement by the students, and the ability to have these things that seem normal, is really a big step forward in a return in the high school, especially. March is Reading Month. Blanche Sims is the one school that will have a beautiful facility, but they're still worried some of the furniture, they don't have it yet, so they're making do, and the students are just get comfortable reading wherever they were. That was yesterday. St. Patrick's Day, there was a lot of green across the district, but early childhood really did a lot on that day. The students were going around, they had leprechaun hunts, and they built leprechaun traps, and I think that's some of what you see there, and they went around and put shamrocks around and they did hunts around the early childhood center, which is really cool. On Down Syndrome Awareness Day, World Down Syndrome Day was this week, and everyone's asked to wear unique socks. And a number of our buildings were involved in that, and that was really, a good statement, of support and inclusion. And at Oakview, actually, Blake Lang, who is a student at the high school, and we've seen him on the Unified team, he and his mother, Christy, and his sister, Brianna, went to Oakview, and they sat through all the lunches, and each time they talked about what was happening. They did a little DJ, had some music, and they talked about the day and about students with Down syndrome and people with Down syndrome and what their challenges are, and about accepting them and including them. And it was really, I think the students were really interested in listening and taking it all in, so it was a good educational experience for them too. March is Reading Month. Representative from the Orion Library, she has gone to all 3 middle schools. I think she was at Scripps today, and this is when she was at Walden last week, and it's really nice that the Orion Library has such a great partnership with our schools and coming in to read to the students. And the students at Walden were there on their lunch break, so they were there voluntarily as opposed to staying in the cafeteria. They wanted to hear her read. So for middle school students, I think that's impressive to have that commitment. We've gotten into our support staff member. We did all the teachers of the year. This is Anthony Taormina. He's a staff associate at Scripps Middle School. He's, as you can tell, loved by the students. And he's been there for 5 years. And he really, he was surprised and not surprised at the same time. He was hoping to be chosen, and he was chosen. And it was just, Rick was there, Ben was there. It was quite a powerful experience for him, and he's such a valuable part of that school and what he means to it. And in terms of athletics, Mr. Bell knows what he does for them too. So to see him recognized by Dr. Haas, and then the students all mobbed him, and he, stood on chairs and said, "This is a family award," and all of this. It was great. He was really proud, so that was great. And in each building, they've been recognized, the support staff members of the year, and in our building, Mrs. Okel was recognized yesterday.
Hey! Speech.
We appreciate every.
Come on, you got to do it Anthony style.
Ben gave her a great speech and introduced and said some highlights about her, and it was really a nice opportunity for all of our leadership team to acknowledge all the work. And as you guys know, she's your secretary an assistant too, so she helps you out as well, and you know how invaluable she is. So we're glad to recognize her here in front of the community as well. So, and I think, any questions, comments?
Questions for Mark?
Thank you very much.
A lot of good news. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay, we'll move on to leadership, and Mrs. Hogan's here.
Yes.
Welcome.
Glad to be back, and you probably won't see me again for a while, so I'm going to go through our presentation tonight, and then I'm going to introduce to you our new board members. So we're really excited about that. We have been busy at Lake Orion High School in the last couple of weeks. Charity Week, we just wrapped up. Just a little bit of a recap. Our committees this quarter were our LO Lotto and advertising. We had Boys Net Out, Strive for a Safe Drive, our Teas and Tiaras event, which was our kindergarten through second graders, Dragon Day with Stadium Drive Elementary, our This Is LO, which is our competition during Charity Week for our talent competition, entire Charity Week, and then we wrapped the Sell Out for Soldiers program into Charity Week this year for the first time. So we really took kind of two of our major events and kind of combined them. Our Community Heroes Assembly, and then even today, we had our bus driver breakfast. So we have been wrapping things up. Tomorrow is our first and second hour exams at the high school, and then Friday will be our third and fourth hour exams. So we are saying goodbye to our 5 officers, and new officers come into place on Monday after the break. So we're looking forward to that. Well-run, very fun Charity Week with lots of really cool events. I know you've seen a lot of pictures, but I just can't stop bragging about how great our kids are and how neat this event turned out to be. It was more impactful that we were able to have an assembly and gather in a location, and we were mask-free, and it was just really, it felt like the days of old. In fact, it felt better than the days of old, so it was really exciting for us. We started off the week with our charity volleyball tournament on Sunday the 13th, and then we did Pajama Day on Monday the 14th. We did food raffles that day during lunches, and then we had a Dine to Donate that evening at Old Detroit. On Tuesday, the 15th, we did our coin stalls, which I'll show you some pictures in a minute, and then we had crushed smoothies in the building, and partial proceeds of that all goes to our charity. On Wednesday, kids could pay $1 to wear a hat at the high school, which is a rarity, and then we had our Dragon Plunge during fourth hour that day, and that evening was our LO's Got Talent. On Thursday, the 17th, it was a green out for St. Patrick's Day. We did Shamrock Shake raffles during the all 4 lunches, and they sold for about $15 a piece. So that was fun. All that money, the profits of all that went to charity. And that evening, we had our hypnotist event. And then the next morning, our leadership team was there at 6 a.m. to get ready for our Sell Out for Soldiers event that day. So the volleyball tournament was great. These are some of the groups. I know Mr. Kirby was lucky enough to attend and be as part of our groups there. So we have lots of fun costumes and things that go on. It was neat to see the kids in the building on a Sunday night participating for charity. Coin stalls, Mark showed some great pictures. We had some great opportunity to do coin stalls this week. You'll notice that some of the teachers have pause passes in their hands. Those were a purchase that students could make. Their teacher had to pause counting for 5 minutes. And you'll notice that Mr. Wise and Ms. Dunn are both wearing an oven mitt. Those are called a sabotage. And so students were able to purchase a sabotage. We did get today, luckily, the people from PNC Bank, which are gracious and so helpful. We had 3 members of PNC Bank come and help us count coin that day. We got the final number this morning. We were just over $6,000 in 1 hour of one day.
It's amazing.
And the PNC Bank here in Lake Orion, before we started, I met with them and they said, oh, we're in a coin shortage. And I was like, well, not anymore. So we had a great experience with that. Our Dragon Plunge went on during the school day. I know Mr. Bell was there to watch that. We had 16 students and staff compete in the Dragon Plunge. Students paid $5 to get a ticket into the Dragon Plunge to miss fourth hour that day. And Mr. Whitaker's basic swimming class was in the pool, and they were the judges. So it was really fun. Students were able to vote on their phones during the plunge itself. We had a great time. Our winner was junior Mason Taplin, and Mason did a fantastic job. So he is holding the golden plunger. And we had a really good time that day. It was a fun thing to do during the school day. Great way to get kids involved. And 2 of our staff members, Nick Schultz, one of our computer teachers, and Jason Wise, one of our math teachers, and Morgan Gothals, one of our special education teachers, all participated in the Dragon Plunge. So it was really neat to see that. Our LO's Got Talent competition was in the evening on Wednesday. We used to call it Mr. and Mrs. Ello, but we kind of geared toward a more cohesive talent competition that night. Part of it was raising money for charity. We had one student raise over $300 personally to the charity, so that was really great. The hypnotist event, you'll notice my good friend Dorian over here. This was a fantastic event. We hire a local hypnotist. His name is Mike Brody. I've actually known Mike for about 15 years. He comes in and does a fantastic show in the auditorium, and students pay to attend. He does a great job. He's a professional hypnotist, and he does some really fun things with our students on stage. The last time we had Mike in the building, we were all wearing masks, and he was able to do his show even with masks on. So it was kind of neat to see him back in the auditorium without the masks. So fun night on Thursday, and then, of course, our big event, our coup d'etat, was the Sell Out for Soldiers event. You'll notice our president, Kyler Carson, and then two of our kids bagging the phones and tagging the phones that day. We couldn't have asked for, I almost get emotional talking about it. It was one of the more impactful events of my teaching career, just seeing the kids all together and being together, and it was a really, really fun, neat event. We invited our community heroes into the building. We had over 18 first responders and community members attend to play volleyball, along with our unified basketball team, which changed sports for the day, and played unified volleyball with our students and staff and our first responders that day. So really big, big day. And then this morning, we honored our drivers with a breakfast at the bus garage, and we had bagels and donuts and coffee for our driver staff with our bus driver breakfast this morning at the bus garage. So very exciting week of charity. We don't have the total numbers in yet, but with that coin stall being over $6,000, we're thrilled to be able to donate a nice chunk of change to the Cell Phones for Soldiers charity. We're looking forward to final deposits coming through, hopefully, if not tomorrow, then by Friday when the students leave the building before they go on break. We are also in an election process, and we are going to welcome 4 out of our 5 new officers tonight. I want to introduce them to you because they'll be taking over, coming to board meetings and presenting all of our leadership updates. Our president for the 2023 class will be Cameron Smith. This is Cameron. Vice president for the class of 2023. These kids start their term after spring break, so they go 4, 1, 2, 3. So they'll be with us for the next year is Savannah Chappie. Our treasurer is Reagan Haas. Reagan is not here tonight. She's at lacrosse practice, but I think you probably recognize her last name. And our secretary, who'll be keeping all these PowerPoints in tip-top shape, will be Grace Sullivan. And our community public relations liaison, who will be running all of our social media, will be Mr. Dorian Hill. So this is 4 of the 5 that will now be taking over the position of reporting out to you guys every other week at the board meetings, and I know they're really looking forward to it. And I do want to really quick just kind of brag about the awesome support from our community. All of the logos on the back of the shirt are really, it's really neat to see so many of our local businesses and local community members really reaching out, and it's nice to be able to have all these logos on the backs of the shirts that are really all local businesses. So I think it's a fantastic collaboration between our community and our kids. So kind of kudos to our community who may or may not be listening.
Right.
Any questions or anything I can answer for anyone tonight?
Dorian, I may have seen your video of the hypnotist. When you got home, did your dad have any comments? Do you remember anything from? Do you? Okay, I was just curious. Yeah, that was a really fun event. That was funny. And Mrs. Hogan, the entire week, my son's a freshman. It was phenomenal. So thank you, and leadership and everything you do, because it was, I don't know, I think it was amazing, so.
Great kids make great events.
Yeah.
So it really is fun, yeah.
Lori, those shirts that they have on tonight, those were what the student body received, correctly? And you guys were wearing, I think, tie-dye versions of it, right? So that looked really cool. And I just want to give a kudos to Mark, too, because between your pictures, his pictures, and then there's a video that's also posted on the website, I got a pretty good feel for how that worked. And the coin stall looks hysterical. I think the oven mitts were something you sold, right? So you made money off of that as well. And then there was something in the video I saw that teachers going, well, I can only count with my left hand. So was that another challenge they could?
Because the teacher had to write the oven mitt in their right hand, and they didn't want to have too.
Okay.
Students could buy a
I
pause
see.
pass.
I thought they actually had to count with the oven mitt.
They could figure it out. They had to figure it out.
Okay, okay.
We still have 23 oven
Well.
mitts. In fact, I think there's members of our community whose oven mitts are still in my classroom right now. Yeah. I do want to give a nice shout out to Mark, too. Mark does a fantastic job for us as an organization, coming to as many of our events as he can and taking pictures and making videos like the Quinstall video that he did make. We get a lot of great PR. And I think before Mark and I leave Lake Orion Community Schools, we still want national PR for Sellout. We're still hoping to get someone to just latch on to some of our social media and figure out a way to get on Ellen, right, Mark?
It will happen.
One of these days.
We're just hoping, or even NBC News, anybody.
Even.
So that is one of our goals. But Mark does a really nice job helping us out with our PR, so it's
Very nice.
really, we're thankful for him. So, thanks, everyone.
Thanks for
Thank
being
you
here.
for all
Thanks,
you
guys.
do.
Good to see you.
Awesome. We'll see a lot more of you.
Congratulations to our new officers.
Well, you kids up there.
Always good news, always. So we'll move on to our presentation tonight, and our athletics update, Mr. Bell.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thanks again for having me. Good to see everyone. Jim, it's good to see you not wearing the striped shirt, although you did a great job for us. The last couple weeks, we've hosted our girls' basketball districts, and Jim was one of the officials in one of the games, and we also hosted boys' regionals. We had him back, and also congratulations on the state championship assignment. It's quite an
Thank you.
honor.
I appreciate that.
He does a great job. I also want to just recognize Lori Hogan as well, you know, as a staff member in the building. It was a pretty awesome week. It really was. And I think what's great and what she's really mastered is she empowers the kids to do so much. You know, Lori, she oversees everything and she directs. It definitely goes through Lori, but the kids just do such a great job. And she lets them do a great job and lets them learn. And it was just a phenomenal week and a lot of fun to be part of that. It's capped off the assembly, which was one of the best I've ever seen. And I've been there a long time. So in terms of athletics, we had a very successful and busy winter season. I will try to be brief and while still giving enough credit to our athletic teams. But it was a fun winter season. Apologize as I figured this out. Okay, our winter season we had with the middle school and high school, 658 student athletes, 24 teams. 13 middle school teams. The middle schools are divided up into 4 athletic seasons. They have 2 winter seasons, so it's boys basketball, and then it goes to, and also competitive cheer for middle school as well, and then it goes to wrestling and volleyball for the middle schools. So very busy. We were busy as a host. The MHSAA and the county loves our facilities and our willingness to put on great events. And besides hosting all of our home events, we also had the privilege of hosting girls' basketball districts, boys' basketball regionals. We had the powerlifting state championships, which is a monster, as Danielle can attest. We had the MHSAA diving regionals, which we seem to get every year. We also hosted the OAA White Swim and Dive League meet, as well as the county swim and dive meet, and those are monsters as well. And I have to also thank our swim parents, because it is all hands on deck, literally, from timers to running the scoreboard to programming the computers. And our swim parents, they're exhausted, but they did a great job, and without them and our coaches, we would not be able to host those things. That's what a state championship powerlifting meet looks like. And again, Danielle volunteered, and she was one of our workers that day and was very helpful. But, you know, obviously you can see why they love our facility. It was just big enough. It felt crowded. It was full, but, you know, large enough where we could get it done efficiently. The organization is asking if we would host it every single year because they love our facility. I'm pushing back, saying let's talk about maybe every other, because it's a long day, and again, at every station you have probably 9 volunteers at every station, because you need loaders, you need judges, you need table workers, and we have 10 different platforms, so add up the volunteers, as well as everybody doing everything else, so it's a huge event. All right, with quick team capsules, some summaries. I'm going to start with boys basketball. Our boys basketball program, our coach, Jose Andrades, you know, they rebounded from a slow start, but they they turned things around and they finished with a 15-7 overall record. They won a share of the OAA White Championship. They advanced to the district championship, and Coach Andradas was named the OAA White Division Coach of the Year. So a very good year for our boys basketball team. The people that you see up here, we on the bottom, we have DJ, and DJ's a junior coming back, very good player for us. And then number 5 up top is Alden Ritt, and Alden is headed to Grand Valley next year to play basketball. Our boys swim and dive, our coaches, head coach Ben Wynn, our diving coach John Pearson. They also were OAA league champions. They had an 8-1 dual meet record. We had 6 swimmers qualify for the state meet, and we had 1 swimmer who had a top 10 finish there in the 500 freestyle, and that's Evan Fox. A side note with our diving coach, we have the world's greatest diving coach. He's been coaching high school diving in club diving for 40 years. He is being inducted into the Michigan High School Association, the Coaches Association Hall of Fame. And that will be coming up this fall, I believe. But he just received word that he's being inducted, and a great honor for John. We share John with Oxford High School. Diving coaches, there's such a shortage of diving coaches, but he is tremendous, and that's a great honor for John. In terms of wrestling, our head coach, Jeff Smart, our wrestling team this year, we wrestle in one of the toughest divisions in the state of Michigan. When you pull in Lake Orion, Oxford, Clarkston, every year it's a dogfight in our division. But our wrestling team did pretty well this year. Academically, they finished as an academic all-state team in the Oakland County Championships of over 30 schools participating. We placed 5th. And here you see junior Judah Kinney, who placed 4th at the state finals in the heavyweight division. And Judah's a 2-sport athlete. He's a heck of a football player and a very good wrestler, obviously, as well. Talked about powerlifting. Our head coach is Eric Jennings. We had 17 boys and 14 girls qualify for the state meet. Our boys won the regional at Troy Athens, and our JV girls finished 3rd at the state meet. Great program. Total, we have about 150 powerlifters in the school. So, you know, it's a lot of participation. Everybody has an opportunity to compete. As I said, I just wanted to thank Danielle for her efforts. Our ski team had a good season. You know, Carl Bassikow is our head coach, and ski is a little bit different. It's not necessarily. Not all of the OA schools have a ski team. There's only a few of us that do, but there's a northern division of schools. We take some schools from such as Holly, Notre Dame Prep, Cranbrook, other schools that want to compete, and there's like a northern school association that they compete out of Pine Knob or Mount Holly, and Carl is the president of that association. But they also had a very good year. 28 out of their 30 athletes were LO Scholar athletes, which means they carry a GPA of 3.0 or higher. We had 2 gentlemen qualify for the MHSAA state meet, with senior Ryan Simic capped off a great career. He took 12th in the slalom and 24th in the giant slalom. That's out of about 75 skiers, so he did very well. Competitive cheer, Nicole Hills is our coach. Nikki was recognized as the OAA Red Coach of the Year. Again, one of the premier cheerleading leagues in the state of Michigan. You know, in terms of Rochester Adams won the state championship again. It seems like every year Rochester's there, Stony Creek is there, Lake Orion is there. So I mean, we earn our place in our league. But they had a very good year. They had 3 first-place regular season tournament finishes. They finished as a district runner-up to Grand Blanc, and they placed 6th in the regional, and the top 4 advanced to the state finals. Most years we're among that group. It was a tough regional, and it wasn't so much that we weren't very good, it's just so was everybody else. There's little margin of error, and Nikki continues to do a great job. Again, 24 OAA Scholar athletes, and they also had 15 competitive cheer coaches association in Michigan Scholar athletes, which means they have a 3.8 or higher. So the girls do a great job in the classroom. Our bowling coach is Denny O'Neill, and Denny is a gold level. He has a gold level certification, which places him as an Olympic level coach. And that's, if you guys know the certifications for some of the sports, it's taken him years to get there. He's phenomenal, and what he does with our teams is unbelievable. I actually have a misquote there. The boys this year finished, they finished 5-6. The JVs finished 8-3 for the JV boys. Our girls finished in second. I want to say they were 8-1 overall, and they finished second in the OAA. They did come back and win the season-ending OAA tournament. We also were the Oakland County champions for about I want to say that was our third in school history of winning the Bowling County Championship. We did place third at the regionals, advancing to the state meet. And at the regional meet, Paige Morris had an eighth place finish at the regional meet, and the girls ended up placing 12th at the state meet. And I know we all understand bowling, but some of these scores, it's really impressive. If you ever see them bowl in the meet, we've all bowled, right? We've all, to see these, they're machines to see them bowl. It's unbelievable. You know, for example, of our girls, Paige Morris had the #1 average in the OAA this year. Her average is 184. Kaylee Harris, her average is 178, and Faith Washington, her average is 162, and that's three of the top four in the OAA. Faith, her high game this year, she had a high game of 256, and Kaylee Harris had a high game of 211, so amazing bowlers. Reese Colwell led our boys team, and his average was 191. So that's average. So it's tremendous to watch. They do a great job. Our hockey team continues to be among the elite in the state of Michigan. Our head coach is Adam Krefsky. We did finish second in the OAA Red this year to Birmingham United. Birmingham has a United team of both their high schools. We're a one high school team, and we're one of the few. Most of the hockey teams around the state of Michigan are co-opted. It means they partner up with somebody. We're one of the few public schools that we have our own hockey team every year. We continue to be very good. We finished the season with an 18-8 record, and just to put in perspective of how good we've been, the past 3 seasons, we've won 2 league championships, and this year we were a runner-up. So they've had some good teams. We did lose in the regional finals to Detroit Catholic Central, 4-1. Catholic Central, that was the eventual state champion, and I don't think anybody played them as close. And I got a nice note from their athletic director, just complimenting our kids on the level of play and how hard our kids played in the game that they played. So very proud of our hockey team. This you've heard, our unified basketball team. They did play down at Little Caesars Arena. They had a great season, but they capped it off. We have in our league, we have a unified tournament, and our kids went down and they won the OAA unified tournament, so they were tournament champions. So they had a great season. And Coach Eric does a great job with them. They're fun to watch. And finally, our girls basketball. Save this one for last. For a reason. Our head coach is Bob Bridges, who's here with me tonight. Our girls basketball team finished with an 18-6 overall record, one of the best records in school history for girls basketball. They finished second in the OA White Division. They won the district championship. That's the program's first district championship since 2010. They were recognized by BCAM, which is the Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan, as an academic all-state team. And the future looks great because we graduate a few seniors, but most of our kids return, and we also return an undefeated junior varsity and an undefeated freshman team. So the future looks really good. So I'm putting some pressure on Coach Bridges, and if I can have Coach Bridges join me up here. I just would like to take a couple seconds and just talk about Coach, and I have a presentation for him. Coach Bridges has been with us here at Lake Orion for 9 years. He just finished his 4th season as our varsity head coach. He's coached our freshman team, our JV team. As I said, for 4 years, has been our varsity head coach. Coach Bridges took over our program when we had not had a lot of success, and our numbers were down. But we also knew we had a good group of girls coming, but we had to find the right guy. And we hired Coach Bridges, and to watch him build this program to where it is now. Now we're moving into the red division, playing in the same league with West Bloomfield, just won the state championship, obviously Clarkston, us, and I expect that we're gonna compete very well in the red division. But Coach has built that program. We're one of the few schools that still maintain a freshman girls basketball team. There's a lot of schools that can't even field a team. But with Coach's enthusiasm, he's also coached at the middle school level to help recruit those girls to play. They just want to play for him. He's done a great job of rebuilding our program, and it was a great season for the girls. So to recognize that, with our winter season, I would like to present Coach Bob Bridges with a Winter Season Coach of the Year award. And I'd like to read the certificate here. It says, the Winter Season Coach of the Year recognizes Robert Bridges for your commitment and dedication in leading the Lake Orion High School girls basketball program to an outstanding season, and signed by our principal, Steve Hawley, and myself. So, Coach.
Real quick, thank you to all of you for having me today. Thank you to Mr. Kirby and Steve Hawley and Chris Bell for believing in what we're trying to build at Lake Orion High School. It was a real community event. If you didn't get a chance to be there, hopefully you got to watch. But man, what an atmosphere. That gym was rocking on Friday night. And to Coach's point, we returned almost everyone, including 4 or 5 starters and most of the key players. And yes, I'm looking forward to being back next year. I'm looking forward to even having more success. So thank you again, and thank you for this very nice honor. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Awesome, awesome.
I was hoping Jim was going to do one of our Lake Orion games.
You're coming out there.
I was hoping to do one of our Lake Orion, and they don't, obviously they don't allow it. So they don't allow, Jim has a slight conflict of interest with doing Lake Orion games.
A little bit.
But it would have been a great story to have our board president tee up our basketball coach.
I don't think that would be too tough.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bob.
So obviously, we bring on the spring season and open for questions.
Questions? A lot of successes. A lot of things to be proud of.
Thank you. This was a lot of
I
fun.
don't have a question, but wasn't Chris Bell recently awarded to the Hall of Fame?
Yes, so Chris is going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. We mentioned it at a previous board meeting. I don't know, Mark, do we know the official date on that?
24th.
June 24th?
But he was counting.
Congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Great news from the athletics area, and I can tell you, just as an objective observer elsewhere, I have a point of reference that none of you have. I'm in a lot of buildings in a lot of districts and see a lot of different teams and how athletic departments operate, and I can tell you that you should be very proud of what we have here, because it runs like a well-oiled machine, and it tells a lot about what a district's about when you can walk in a building and see what's happening. And it's always organized, it's clean, it's safe, and it raises up kids. And I think we're very fortunate to have such a good athletic department, so we appreciate that.
And I think just to go one step further, going and watching a girls' game, or even I was at the boys' regional game, but the student sections and just class acts and funny and, like, I know when we were in school, we were usually getting kicked out for saying stupid things in the crowd, but I mean, these kids it's hilarious. Like, I sit there and watch what they're going to say, and, you can't do that, and all the different cheers they have. It's just fun. And so I think that with great leadership, we also have great kids. So kudos.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks,
you.
Coach.
Congratulations, Bob. Thank you. All right, so we have no public participation this evening for either area, and so we'll move on to strategic area discussion items, governance, and superintendent's update, please.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to take a couple minutes to recognize the Michigan Association of School Board has recognized a couple of our board members, and I wanted to bring that to the attention of the full board here this evening. First, Danielle Brissett. Danielle is now a certified board member. She got the Certified Board Member Award as well as the Award of Merit, so congratulations, Danielle.
Thank you.
Good job, Danielle.
That's great.
Yeah, she's just working hard in all areas. And then also to Birgit McQuiston. Birgit received the Data Specialty Award, so congratulations, Birgit.
Hey, Birgit.
Great job.
As far as the legislative update, there's been quite a bit going on, and I know, many of you follow the MASB updates. A couple of things to highlight. The suspension of the Michigan's gas and diesel fuel tax passed the Senate and now is in the governor's, at the governor's desk. This is the potential of a $725 million general fund hole. And because that failed to pass with a 2/3 supermajority, if the governor does sign the bill, it wouldn't go into effect until March of '23. All indications are that she's going to veto it, but if she does sign it, it doesn't go into effect till March of '23. So not sure of the impact of that or what the actual action would be, but the bottom line is if that is signed, that will have a significant dollar impact on schools. The Senate Education Committee adopted a substitute for the Senate Bill 726, which we've talked about previously, but that is the bill that reduces the waiting period for retirees to return as substitutes without being subject to an earnings cap. That is obviously a challenge for trying to get substitutes and those that retire and coming back. So part of the tweaks to it was a 4-month waiting period, and there was a 2-year sunset policy on that piece of legislation. There also was another one that the House panel just yesterday voted to recommend passage of, allowing retirees to go back to work after 12 months without any kind of a loss of the retirement benefits. So I'm encouraged in the respect that they're doing some things with retirees and allowing them back into the classrooms if they're still, interested in inspiring our students. So that we'll continue to watch that and support those types of bills. House Bill 5859 and Senate Bill 925 are both education bills. It's a little bit different. They would provide families with up to $1,500 per family to help with the COVID-19 pandemic learning loss or gap. It's a little unique in the respect that they're giving the families the money, and then there's going to be a marketplace where different vendors are. So there's not really any kind of cooperation with the school to really identify what, the learning gap might be that needs to be addressed. So it has been met with a lot of skepticism by Michigan Department of Ed and other education associations because of the missing link between the child's education and what it is that they would address with those funds. House Bill 4074 passed the Senate. This encourages districts, we've talked about this a little bit in the past, but it encourages districts to offer free enterprise and entrepreneurship at the high school, and that would go into effect at 23-24. And again, it's an encouragement, it's not a requirement. As an update, House Bill 5701, that continues to go through the process of passage, and that is the bill that talks about the door lock devices that I've brought up in the past. The big piece around that is that districts wouldn't have to receive approval from the local fire marshal, which is one of the current steps. And basically this bill is with the governor for her consideration at this point. Any questions on any of those pieces?
Questions?
No, I just have a comment about the gas tax. That's pretty staggering that went through and is at her desk. I want to believe she's going to sign that, but if she doesn't, that's really detrimental to our funding.
Definitely.
Well, I do have a question. How detrimental? Have there been any preliminary guesstimates, John?
John, you see you
Just as
working
an
your mic.
update, I've just got some recent information that says it's been vetoed, so it's not.
Fantastic.
I think it was estimated at 50 million
Oh,
per
it's
month.
vetoed.
Yeah, 50 million per month is what the estimate was. And the other one to watch that continues to be out there is the 6% sales tax on gas, and that too has a huge impact because that goes into school aid fund, that tax directly. So, good news, John. All right, good work there.
Take the rest of the night off.
That's right, yeah. I tell you what, you can go home,
That was his punchline at the end of the meeting.
I was going to offer he can go home after the meeting, but anyways.
After the meeting.
A couple of other notable bills just to mention, Senate Bill 969, that suspends teacher evaluations for the 21-22 school year. You know, we've seen different bills come through. Nothing has gone all the way through the process, but there's still one in the works there. House Bill 5937 also addresses some teacher certification requirements. There's a House Bill 5934 that seems to be around a lot, and that is, there's a lot of discussion around that, and that is about requiring districts to pre-screen for dyslexia in public schools. And then lastly, there's a House Bill 5930, and that is around transportation, appropriating approximately $50 million to fund districts based on the amount of square miles that they have that they're providing transportation for their students. So those are early in the process, but I just wanted to bring those to your attention as well. So, any questions? Okay. As far as strategic planning, we've talked, about the fact that in April, Greg and Debbie from MASB will come and give you a final presentation for your consideration of approval of the strategic plan. Our leadership team continues to work on the one-year intentional actions that we would do to accomplish the goals that would be considered for approval that night. We're working to conclude our work based on our current plan in the district that we've been working on all year, and then we'll transition into the next plan, in the month of May and June, and kind of ramp things up into the fall. So we have broken everything down into terms for our purposes and also for reporting back to the board and whatnot, but we'll be sharing those after we get approval and whatnot for the strategic plan. So any questions around that?
I think we talked about inviting everybody, everybody that helped and participated. Are we going to still do that?
Yes,
Okay,
yep. I'm going to
great.
have Julie send an email out to that group that participated on that Saturday
Great.
about the April presentation.
Okay,
Yep.
great.
Good call.
Okay, the next piece, the PowerPoint, it's just a couple slides. Julie, can you handle those? I don't have the clicker. Go ahead and switch over. So as we've talked about in the past, the green data is improvement. So we continue to improve in the per 10,000 data. We're down to 8, per 10,000. It's a good trend. Very happy about that. And, school feels very good as we work through the days with our students. So positivity rate is at 5.2. That's for the county. That's as of March 21st. Ironically, the state of Michigan has a little bit lower positivity rate. But at any rate, that's, again, just a data point that I've continued to report out on. And then lastly, just a couple pieces. The OCHD has updated their guidance based on MDHHS's guidance, and the bottom line is the school guidance now is equal to what public guidance is. There's not a lot of actions for us to take. I guess I'm just recognizing that there has been some updates. So we've communicated those out, to our staff and to the nurses and whatnot. So the dashboard, which was part of an executive order, which was a requirement for us to update. I believe it was within 24 hours of reporting. We had to have that on a dashboard, the number of the COVID cases, what building and whatnot. We're no longer required to do that. But what we are going to do is that we are going to continue to do that on a weekly basis. We know that there's families that, monitor that and take a look at that. So we're going to continue to update that. We still report in aggregate form to the health department the positive cases that we're aware of. So we're going to go ahead and keep that active, but basically on a weekly basis rather than a 24-hour criteria that was in place before. We also had worked with each school building so that they would actually communicate out individually in classrooms at the elementary level, in teams at the middle level, and at the high school level as a whole population. So those of you that have high school students, you see we've been sending them out 0 cases, 1 case, 0 case. So we're not going to do that after spring break. It's, the amount of work that it takes for us to report out that there's 0 cases. We're no longer going to do that, but again, we're going to keep that, the dashboard updated on a weekly basis. So if people do have an interest as to where the positive cases are, they can look at the dashboard and identify if there are positive cases in a respective building. And I think I went through all of those. So just the last piece, just to acknowledge that I do still meet with the health department on Tuesday afternoons with the county superintendents. And there really hasn't been, a lot of updates and, red flags or concerns that they have brought forward for us. So that is it for the COVID update.
Questions? Steve?
Yes, just a comment. Mr. Kirby, it does give you do give a lot of comfort to the parents, to the community for all the updates that you've been doing. And the fact that you're still attending the county health department meetings, the one that you just referred to with the other superintendents, we all thank you for your time. And it does give comfort, even though the numbers are going down, and thank God they are.
Yeah.
The unknown is a lot of fear. So the fact that you are giving us those updates have been and continue to be very beneficial. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. Others?
Yeah, and I appreciate that the transparency, even though the executive order was rescinded, it's an appropriate level, instead of sending the email, so frequently, but the data is still out there, and that's the point. There's nothing to hide. It'll be out there, and it's great that we've reached this situation where the critical need to keep putting it out there. You saw 8 cases per 10,000 people in the area. That's the lowest it's been when we've had students in regular session. So our actions are appropriate for the situation we're in, and I appreciate that you're doing that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, others? Okay, I think we're good. Thank you. So we'll move on to student achievement, and Heidi, please.
All right, couple things this evening. On March 17th, the middle school had DEI PD around the book Culturally Responsive Teaching and the Brain by Zaretta Hammond. You know that we've been doing a whole district book study. And so the entire district has read the book. Elementary will have their PD on May 13th, and then the high school will hold their PD in May as well. Just this past Saturday, the ELA instructional coaches, Kate DeMio, Kelly Day, and Beth Bruce put on a viewing party for the Teachers College Reading and Writing Project Reunion. We've had the honor before of going to New York. Now they're part of this PD is they're doing it via Zoom. So we gathered everybody together that wanted to participate. Elementary and middle school teachers attended 8:30 to 1:30, and we viewed it at Carpenter. So they got to attend different PD sessions, rotating from room to room, and all surrounding the topic of literacy. So it was fun. There was a notebook bar for teachers. Teachers had a chance to win a $500 classroom library package, and Sarah Dabrowski was the lucky winner of that. So it was a fun event. And then we are M-STEP, PSAT, and SAT, getting ready for that. All of those tests will be happening after spring break. The buildings and the technology department have been busy working together, making sure that we're ready for that to go. And then Jamie Kimber, as you know, is our district science specialist and instructional coach. He is retiring on Friday. So Jamie's spent 25 years in Lake Orion. We just had a little Zoom get-together at the end of today. But we thank Jamie for all that he has done for the district and wish him well. So
Wow, we all think he's not old enough to retire.
I'm.
That's right.
So. In regards to bond, we did have our design team meetings today. We met with Walden and Oakview on their secure entry. Those projects are moving along extremely well and really almost ahead of schedule because, again, we had the foundation. There's not a ton of work that needs to be done to bring those secure entries up to what we expect. So very happy about that. And then we continue to work on furniture, which you will see tonight. And so we're getting ready for all of the preparations for the furniture to come in over the summer and that big project. And if you've seen anything around Blanche Sims, you know that we have already started work on that groundbreaking. And the groundbreaking will be April 13th at 4:30. So we're excited about that as well. So I think that is it for that.
Questions for Heidi? A lot of stuff there, too.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, thank you. All right, so we'll move on to the superintendent, I'm sorry, let's move to Rick.
Nothing, excuse me, nothing other than the new hire who you already met.
And that's good news.
That is good news.
Great.
There you go. So then we'll move on to Superintendent Evaluation Committee report. And the committee met yesterday and had an opportunity to, again, align some of the things that the board wants to see. And some research will be done by Josh, and we'll be coming back to the entire board, and we'll have ample opportunity to fully discuss all those areas that all of us want more information about relative to superintendents and the superintendent's sphere. And we'll have that, we should have that shortly. Any questions? Looks like
That
you
was
had a question.
superintendent sphere, not superintendent fear.
No, not the fear, the sphere.
Wanted to
And
clarify.
for anybody at home, that was specifically that discussing Ben's contract.
Right.
You know, the superintendent
Yes.
contract was the purpose of the evaluation committee meeting.
Right. So we'll move on to finance, and Jen, please.
Good evening. On the agenda tonight are 3 bid awards in the February financial report. The first bid award speaks to a furniture bid award for the 3 middle schools and the high school. This past January, we issued a request for proposal. It was structured from a furniture perspective on this bid award. It's structured a little different than a typical bid award. They're broken into categories from a furniture point of view. So the significance of that is that not all bidders were required to bid on all 5 categories. If they wanted to bid, they could pick out categories 2 and 4, whatever their specialty or wanted to pursue. So that said, we got 5 bids in, and February 17th, they were opened, and 4 vendors were selected to supply the 5 bid categories. Funding to be provided with the Bond Series 2 funding, recent issuance. It's the recommendation of the Board of Education. It's the recommendation that the Board of Education authorize the administration to execute contracts as presented to purchase furniture from Custer Incorporated in the amount of $855,890.84. Interior Environment in the amount of $476,008.25. Great Lakes Furniture Supply in the amount of $1,713,728 even. In Duell Corporation in the amount of $61,052.55 for a grand total award of $3,106,679.64. Any questions on furniture?
Nope.
Next bid, you want me to just roll right into the bid, each bid as I read through it? Okay. The second bid award is tied to Stadium Elementary. It's the asbestos abatement bid award. The scope of the abatement process identified at the building is really focused largely in floor tile and what's known as mastic. It's the binding chemical underneath carpetings in the areas that's being renovated over there in phase 2 of stadium work. And just a reminder, we've been doing the abatement at the buildings as we've been breaching into the different renovation projects with them. So this one's falling right in that line in that process. So funding for the asbestos abatement will be coming out of the Series 1 funding. And with the authorization of the administration, we're requesting that you authorize administration to execute the contracts as presented for Stadium Elementary abatement project in the amount of $119,600. and allocate contingency and allowances in the amount of $10,000 for a total recommendation of $129,600. Any questions?
I do have a question about the asbestos abatement. Has anything been done at Pine Tree, or has there been a need to do anything at Pine Tree? Those two buildings were built about the same time.
I believe we had a small-scale abatement process when some doors were changed relative to the door framing. That building itself will be addressed. There's some work that's scheduled to be done at Pine Tree in the
that'll
near
happen at
future.
that time.
And when we reach into it, we'll
Got
be
it.
dealing with that.
Okay.
In the cases of like the Pine Tree, for example, even Stadium, they're encapsulated in such a way that if it was never renovated,
Right.
there'd be no need to abate.
It's fine, yeah.
So-
I just wondered if we had occasion to do that yet at Pine Tree or not, or if that was ahead of us.
That's still ahead of us.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
And the last bid award is what we affectionately referred to as the Blanche Sims Award, Bid Award Part 2. If you remember, a couple meetings back, we brought a bid award associated with the Blanche Sims facility project. That bid award really addressed the site-related work in structural steel and some of the heavier, more concentrated items that are requiring longer lead times in this day and age of extended supply chain issues. So this bid award that's before you tonight is pretty much everything else related to that facility. So there's a much longer list of project contracts associated with it. I would be happy to read each line item off. I believe last time you relieved me of that responsibility, but I'm happy to do it. Otherwise, if you have any specific questions on that, and any line item within there, I'd be more than happy to address it. From a totals point of view, it's recommendation that the Board of Education authorize administration to execute contracts as presented. That'd be page 27 has the actual line item breakdown of the contracts in the amount of $13,473,725, and to allocate contingency and allowances in the amount of $1,070,000 to $1,070,526 for a total recommendation of $14,544,251. I do want to make one quick note in the actual, the board action request form that's filed in your document. It refers to us as using Bond Series 1 funding. This is actually Bond Series 2. That's my typo.
You answered my question in advance, because
You've got me well conditioned, Jake. I'm just catching those right out of the gate.
it was just, I was like, isn't this, this was the usage of the second series, yeah, the
Right.
first big usage of it.
Blanche is the main project in the
Right.
second series.
Birgit?
I do have a general overall question on bond and what we're facing with incoming costs. With the rate of inflation as it has been, are we managing to stay on target with what we were anticipating cost-wise?
The second series set of projects will be a challenge. We've been, if you notice, to reference to page 27 of that listing of contracts for Blanche Sims. It's about 4 lines down relating to the previously awarded contracts.
Right.
There's a $243,000 credit that's related to structural steel that was previously authorized. So we have been actively working, the entire bond construction team has been working to preempt, tighten up, to steal a badly used phrase, value engineer. Whenever I hear that phrase, I always think to myself, okay, what's getting cut? But in this case, it's particularly, in this example, related to structural steel. Some decisions were made to move some things and delay some things and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So to the extent that we're preemptively trying to position things to maintain in a conscientious way, budgeted plan targets, we're working on it. In my mind, in reality, if we land anywhere close, I think we're doing a great job.
It's got to be a challenge
And if-
because
It's really going to depend upon how long the supply chain / whatever he wants to
Right.
point out as to driving inflationary issues. If the spike stays up and we have a 15-year run like the 70s, we will be way short of budget.
Right.
If it's a couple of year issue and things get under control and settle down, we'll be able to deliver the project we promised. We'll have to be tightening up on a few things, but I think we'll still make it.
all right. Stay tuned.
Yes.
Will they give us any kind of indicators in advance that we need to be reevaluating some things?
In terms of the bond program, well, we actually are doing that pretty much on a weekly basis.
Right, I'm sure you are, but I mean, from suppliers and from
Yeah,
our general.
Mr. Gagnon, who's our main representative with Rewald and Sons, he's always in contact with the vendor sets, and they're always feeding information back and forth. He's usually the one that brings up, this is down the road coming up, this is now a 12-week lead, steel spiked, that kind of stuff. So he is pretty well wired into a front-end early warning system. The problem is, some of this stuff is going 12 weeks, 6 months out, so we're stuck.
Yeah.
To some degree. I mean, not just us, anybody building anything in the country these days is. So probably in the same shoes we are in terms of trying to preempt where we can and plan for the others.
Okay, well, it sounds like it's proactively being addressed.
I think we're doing it to the extent that we can. Some of the stuff, we just got to figure out a way to eat the cost, figure out a new way to do something.
Sure.
Back to the value engineering phrase, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Hopefully not to any great degree. I see the look on your face, Barry.
That's literally everything. Flour, paper, plastic,
Yeah,
steel.
it scares me.
Yep.
All right. Questions for John? Any other questions? Okay.
So that leaves, the last time is the February financial report. Quick highlight there, the revenue recognized as of end of February is $47,319,468, just a little over half the budget. And expenditure side, $50,406,577, about 54% of the expenditure side of the house. Cash position, we're about $8.7 million at the end of February. Our expectation for year-end cash position, at this point, looking forward, is ticked up to about $12 million. As we move further for the next few months into the year, I think that's going to slide back down, depending upon some grant-related things and depending upon some timing of particularly the last payroll of the month in June. On paper, it shows up as a payroll in the July period. In reality, it'll end up counted as a payroll to the current year. So I make the point that when a lot of this cash forecasting and planning goes on, it's related to the budgets, board-approved budget, versus the actual impact of underlying timing of cash, things like payroll. Any questions?
Questions for John?
The year is going by very fast.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
All right, believe it or not, we're moving to action items. And may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the following consent agenda items. Approve minutes from the March 9th, 2022 regular meeting and closed session. Approve out-of-state and overnight field trip requests for Lake Orion High School's AP Physics to Sandusky, Ohio on May 16th of 2022. Approve the Lake Orion High School varsity color guard to Dayton, Ohio from April 6th to the 9th of 2022. And also Lake Orion High School percussion, also to Dayton, Ohio from April 21st through the 24th of 2022.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. We'll move on to, may I have a motion to approve certified new hire?
I move to approve a certified new hire as presented.
Thank you. Is there support?
Sport.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Our certified new hire is approved, and please?
Oh, welcome to Megan.
Thank you.
You never went too far.
All right, may I have a motion to authorize bid award for furniture?
I move to authorize administration to execute contracts to purchase furniture from Custer, Inc. in the amount of $855,890.84. Interior Environments in the amount of $476,008.25. Great Lakes Furniture Supply in the amount of $1,713,728, and Duell Corporation in the amount of $61,052.55, for a total award of $3,106,679.64 as presented.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. The bid award is authorized. May I have a motion to authorize the bid award for Stadium Drive asbestos abatement.
Move to authorize administration to execute a contract with Right Way Remediation LLC for asbestos abatement at Stadium Drive Elementary in the amount of $119,600 and allocate contingency and allowances in the amount of $10,000 for a total recommendation of $129,600 as presented.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. The bid award for Stadium Drive asbestos abatement is authorized. May I have a motion to authorize bid award for Blanche Sims Phase 2?
I move to authorize administration to execute contracts to multiple vendors for Phase 2 of the Blanche Sims project in the amount of $13,473,725 and allocate contingency and allowances in the amount of $1,070,526 for a total recommendation of $14,544,251 as presented.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The bid award for Blanche Sims Phase 2 is authorized. And we'll move on. Public participation, there was no one signed up for the second opportunity, and so we'll move to recap and next steps. Ben?
The only thing I picked up on is the one piece around inviting the strategic planning retreat team to the April board meeting, so we'll make sure to do that. Other than that, there weren't any other items.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move to closing comments, and John?
Nothing further, thank you.
Thank you. Rick?
I want to give a thank you to Mark. He mentioned some things earlier, but since his involvement, and he's really stepped up the game with SOC enrollment, kindergarten roundup, kindergarten enrollment, all those things with his work on the website and so forth. And we've streamlined that stuff so much more in the last couple of years, and it makes it so much easier for our families and so forth. And most of that is due to Mark's efforts. And we'll have some information coming out at a later date. We're working on a new health page with our nurses and has some community resources and so forth. So again, Mark's been integral in helping with that too. So I want to thank him for what he's been doing lately. He makes my world a little easier.
Great. Great job. Thanks, Mark. Heidi?
I just want to remind everybody that the LOEF golf outing is taking place this year, June 21st. Buy your tickets, please. Red Wings game, April 9th. April 9th. So sign up for that. If you go to a Red Wings game on April 9th.
We have, okay, in the message that comes out on Friday, we can put this in a couple. On the message that comes out Friday.
In a few of the weekly messages that we've sent out, and we will again this Friday through LOEF, there's a link, and if you, the Red Wings game on April 9th, if you go through the link and you buy the tickets through there, $5 will go back to the LOEF for every ticket sold, and if there's enough that are sold, then kids who attend will be able to go on the ice after the game.
How about parents?
Everyone
He said kids.
So it's a really cool thing. And Drew will be there representing our district, so definitely a cool opportunity.
That's great. Thank you. All right, Ben?
Just to acknowledge, we saw so many great things, whether it be from leadership class or from the bond projects or the work that Mark's doing that Rick mentioned, and I congratulate the entire district. We continue to do a lot of great things. We talked a little bit about Julie's accomplishments and the things that she does for us to make us all look good, but I think sometimes when you are part of it, you don't recognize how good things are, and I think it's something that we need to take a pause and just recognize all the great things that are happening and what we have, we need to be thankful for.
Thank you, Ben. Steve, can we start with you?
Sure, thanks, Jim.
Please.
Well, Mr. Kirby hit on everything that I was thinking, and we all were thinking probably, but a special thanks to our athletic department, their presentation, and congratulations to everybody in the athletic, including our kids. They're part of that too, obviously. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Susan?
Yeah, I just want to welcome and congratulate the new officers for leadership class. I look forward to their presentations in the next upcoming months and weeks. And that's it. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Scott?
I'd like to congratulate Birgit and Danielle for your awards with the MASB and for Danielle being the star of the night. It was also cool to see the officers, a couple of those girls, I've known them since they were little. So now I'm getting at the age where my kids are in the leadership class, so it's kind of cool. And it's just fun to see.
All right, thank you. Danielle?
Thank you for the recognition from Mr. Bell and from everybody. And, just want to thank everyone for the presentations tonight and wish everyone a safe spring break. And if you're going somewhere warm, enjoy it. So thank you.
Thank you. Jake?
Yeah, I appreciated the presentations we had this night, so congratulations to the new officers. And the cool number was over 600 kids that participated in the athletics. That's what it's all about, is those kids had experiences that that are enriching their education and they're going to remember forever. And I also just want to say, wish everybody a happy spring break and use the week to refresh and come back strong for the fourth quarter.
That's right.
Thank you. Birgit?
I just want to recognize that it's March's Reading Month, and we're wrapping up, and it happens to be one of my most favorite months of the year. And I've had the privilege this week of reading in a bunch of classrooms between Carpenter and Stadium, and Danielle and I are tomorrow morning going to Pine Tree. So that's been just so much fun to get into the classroom and to read to the kids. So your kids are awesome. The teachers are fantastic. What a great time that is. So that's all I've got. Have a great spring break, and good luck on finals to those taking them.
And I'd like to add my congratulations to both Danielle and Birgit for their investment in our board. You're really making an investment in our board and our community by getting that additional education and bringing that back to us, so we appreciate that. And then just to recognize Lori Hogan, she's a dynamo, and she has really focused those kids on an ongoing basis to be really leaders, not just in our schools, but in our community, and I really appreciate her work on that. With that, we are adjourned. Good night.